How is this not a season finale? What do you mean there's 3 episodes left? Did you see what Mark is looking like by the end of it? This episode had me looking like that one El Chapo meme. I was just walking around my house like, dude, that was an episode of television. If you're new here, hi, I'm Matt. I'm reviewing every episode of Invincible after they air. You can catch up on the first 4 episodes here if you need to. If not, we can get going then because we have a lot to break down in. This episode is all gas, no breaks from beginning to end. The best course of action is going to be to talk about everything in order. A lot of the runtime is dedicated to Omni-Man's character and him absolutely getting rolled. His chat with Mark was good. I like that he points out how much pain Nolan caused and that he can't trust him. But no matter what, Mark has to join in because Earth is screwed if the coalition of planets loses. Even now when it's objectively the right thing to do, Nolan is still pushing Mark into horrible situations. Then the lead-in into his talk with Debbie being Mark telling him it's a bad idea, asking who the apology is for is so good. Sometimes people cross lines that apologies can't make up for. We saw this 2 episodes ago with St. Clair, but this scene is so good. It's one of my favorites in the show. No one's hesitant to even go in. It's amazing right from the jump. He's been out there for hours, and it's smart to have Debbie be the one to open the door. This whole thing should be happening on her terms, not Nolan's. The apology was very good. About as perfect as he could have made it. He goes on about how his time on Earth made him human, and when Mark got his powers, he was upset that his happy life was done, which is him flat out saying the subtext of his arc in season 1. He spells it out here 2.5 years later, but you can see it all way back then. I won't go into too much detail about it here because I made a whole video about this very topic in 2023. It's one of the main reasons why I find Omni-Man such a fascinating character. Now throw him wanting to repent for the pain that he caused when he might not be able to adds even more to the character. But it doesn't matter how perfect an apology is. Sometimes all you should do is let the person whose life you ruined heal without you. That's what Nolan should have done. He shouldn't have made this apology for himself. And because he didn't, Debbie just lets him have it. She leads by reminding him of all the pain he caused the world and the people that loved him, to show him that he can't apologize for what he's done. I love that she brings up how he thinks he can do anything and fix everything with his powers. That line feels like her bringing up a sore spot from their relationship to show him how he hasn't changed as much as he thought. The entire time she was spitting, I wanted to yell, "Get his ass, Debbie."
I wanted to say that I was sorry.
You said that. You're still here.
She did a great job of making him confront how much of a horrible person he is. He claimed to love her, but then had a kid with Bug Kim Wexler. Then dumped that kid on her. She doesn't care how human he became. It doesn't change the fact that he killed so many people, including the man she loved. And she even asks about the pet line. Nolan needed to be cooked like this so he knows how much he truly has to work to even begin to have the slightest bit of redemption that he might not even deserve. He claimed to be human, which I do believe Debbie succeeded in doing that. The issue is that he didn't kill the Viltrumite inside of him during that process before Mark got his powers. That part isn't someone else's job. It's up to him. And until he does that, until he isn't a poor photocopy of a human, he will never be able to truly begin apologizing for what he did. Then after Debbie breaks her hand punching him, he looks down at her blood on him and leaves. This is exactly what I wanted to see from these two after the season 1 finale. There was no better way to do this scene. And Sandra Oh, the Canadian icon that you are, she is perfect this episode. In general, I think she's a very underrated aspect of the show. Especially after starting the comics, I am very impressed with her rendition of this character. I haven't gotten to this point yet. I won't until after season 5 is done. Based off of how comic Debbie is written, I already know she takes him back immediately. From that explosive reunion, we got the introduction of Tech Jacket, who's been teased a few times. I've heard a lot of things about this character and is one I've been excited to meet. And Zoe seems like a fun character. She's the only new face on the squad, so next episode I hope we get more time with her. It was a nice break before getting to see Debbie facing that Nolan might be sending her son to his death. And then Oliver crashing out because he didn't even bother to see him. I've been so focused on Debbie and Mark that I kind of forgot Oliver would have feelings on him coming back. He has every right to be pissed about that and them wanting him to stay behind. It all builds up to his most emotional line.
I wasn't there for my other mom, so I'm gonna save this one, and you can't stop me.
His people were nearly wiped out. He never met his mother. All he knows is Debbie, Mark, and Earth. He deserves this chance to save everything he cares about. This is his best moment in the whole series. That dinner scene before they left was very sweet. The two boys are about to go to war, and given how this episode ends, they deserve one more normal night before the storm. And Debbie also deserves one last night with her family in this house. Nolan's scene with Art was one I wasn't expecting. I'm really happy he threw shade at Nolan for rocking out with his dogs out. The entire episode I kept saying, put on some damn shoes, Nolan. We got a bit of why Nolan didn't want to talk to Oliver here. He might not be self-aware enough to leave Debbie alone, but at least he knows he's toxic for Oliver. And I loved how Art tells Nolan he can't make a suit for a villain. His time back on Earth is a series of people reminding him he's a horrible person. Again, that's good. He needs to know the hurt he caused before he can work towards anything positive, which he might not even deserve the chance to. Art gasping for air when he leaves is so funny too. Dude had no idea what to expect given last time he saw Nolan. He went completely off the rails afterwards. A part of me does wish Eve and Mark were able to talk about her being pregnant, but it's for the better that they didn't. It's too big of a bomb to drop on him before he has to go into space to fight a war. Mark is like fully not ready for a kid right now, and not in a everyone isn't ready until they have a kid way. He's depressed and unstable, which lead to some very violent tendencies. Luckily, those tendencies aren't directed towards the people he cares about, but he already has so much going on that I don't think he would be able to think straight if she told him. And you can tell how worried she is for him. And the pregnancy adds a whole other layer to her emotions. Shortly after that, Oliver meets his father, and it goes about as well as every other interaction this episode. He once again states that he wasn't able to save his people from a problem that Nolan caused, and he won't let it happen again. And this was their first interaction since he was a baby. Nolan doesn't really try that hard to connect with him this episode. Because he knows how poorly that first interaction went, he knows he should give him some space. Along with him wanting to protect Oliver from himself. I don't know if this situation it was Nolan being selfish like he was with Debbie, because I believe him not getting involved is the right thing for him to do. Let the people that he's hurt heal. But it's go time. I knew the ship was horrible based off of episode 2, but I did not take in how run down the doors sounded. It was sending me every single time. The little montage was fun that ended with a good scene of Nolan thinking about Debbie. He does care about her. See the whole "I think I miss my wife" line. But he's got a big job to do there if it's even possible to complete it. So it's really good to show that he's in a funk about what happened.
Oh, funk is it's a Unopan word to me. It means kind of like bummed out, you know?
One thing I've been meaning to say about Omni-Man all season is that J.K. Simmons has done a really amazing job of sounding tired. There's so much sadness in his voice. His arc wouldn't be working anywhere near as well if we couldn't hear the pain in his voice. Because ultimately that pain is nothing compared to what he caused, which is wild to say when he sounds so beaten down in many moments. Then the Viltrumites attack and we get a 10-minute long fight. The whole thing was very fast and chaotic. If this is the quality of the fights we should be expecting from the rest of the season, ooh boy, we're in for a good time. Oliver almost gets red rushed before Omni-Man saves him. Conquest is still fun as hell in this scene. Him threatening Eve is exactly why it was a good idea she didn't tell Mark. I don't think he would have been able to focus if he was thinking about that. There were two things that they kept doing in this fight that are brilliant. One is Nolan saving people and it being met with apathy. He still hasn't earned respect from them yet, outside of Alan. That second one is that little hand move the Viltrumites do. We've seen them fight a decent bit now, and thanks to Eve, we know how devastating one little hand chop can be from them. It's basically the strongest sword in the universe. So every time they do that motion, it pulls you to the edge of your seat, which needs to happen for how Mark's fight ends. Oliver rushes over to a nearby planet to catch his breath. Conquest bounces off Mark to make chase. Baller move, by the way. He then jump scares the audience. What a freeze frame. Before Mark rushes in. Is this fight as good as the previous fight? No, the season 3 finale was a lot more flashy between the dive bomb and the hair. Why did they go so hard for him failing to get up? But the emotion behind this fight and the intention behind their moves are way better. Mark locks in on choking him out. As my buddy pointed out while we were watching, Mark isn't as strong as Conk. He can't beat him physically, but he knows he was holding his breath for a long time. So he drops a bar.
You're never breathing again.
And locks in on choking him out. And that's a brilliant dynamic for this fight. It really shows Mark's determination in this scene because he's so focused on that one thing. Like, he's kind of got the death grip going and he is not relinquishing. At first, Conk is playing around, but as they fly through the planet and he can't gasp for air, he slowly realizes he's losing this. And you're going to be looking at me right now instead of the scene because I don't know how much of it I can show. This is the most brutal fight in the entire series. It's weirdly grounded despite how fast they're moving, but having Mark so locked in on the death grip makes it so raw. I think it was basically 3 straight minutes of Mark trying to choke him out. We see the hand move when Conk truly realizes he might die here, and he sends it right through Mark. Brutal. Disgusting. The music stops and all you hear is grunts, screams, guts, and blood. But then it gets more disgusting. Mark's guts start to spill out and Conquest just gets in there and starts scooping them out. And right when you think he's going to stop, he keeps going while Mark still chokes him. Stephen Young, what did they do to you to get you to make those noises? He is perfect during it. With Walking Dead, a lot of people jumped off after Jeffrey D. Morgan's character absolutely brutalized Stephen Young's character, and I can see that happening here because this scene was a lot. Like, why did he start scooping? How they showed Conk's death was great. His eye is fighting, rolling back until it eventually does. Then after a little bit longer, his legs fall. Mark rolls over and lets out the quietest, the most brink of death help I've ever heard. Like, I didn't even hear it the first time watching it. Mostly because I was sitting there like, dude. Then they show what Mark was being dragged through during the whole thing. And Nolan and Oliver find Mark with way too much of what should be inside of him outside. Man, what a disgusting way to send off Conquest. I recently picked up this volume of the comic, not because this is the next one I have to read, but because this is all I really want to read up to until season 5 has finished airing. And I find it so funny that the color they picked for the volume that Conquest is on the cover of is purple. Considering how this dude dies, that has to be a joke. Oh, this might actually have his death scene too. I don't want to open it and confirm just in case I see a spoiler. Everything I've talked about so far is why I'm surprised this episode isn't a season finale. We got so many great character moments and it ends with Mark basically dead. Like, if you thought he looked rough after season 1 and 3, that was truly nothing. It would have sucked if Conquest was the big season final boss again. It's just wild that this is the beginning of the Viltrumite War, which is why this was so effective. That was round 1. The stage is set. The stakes have been made. That is what victory looks like right now. I cannot imagine how the rest of this season is going to go. The 3 Graysons are stuck on this planet with Mark's guts outside of him. On that note, real quick, way back in season 2, when Lucan breaks Nolan's spine while holding his guts, I assumed he died after that. So it's really smart showing that he survived before doing something worse to Mark. We have a frame of reference showing us that's livable. Alan and Zoe are stuck on the Viltrumite ship, and the crew of the Venture makes their way back to the coalition of planets. The mole is brought up again, and at this point, I feel like Telia is the only option. Just because that part of the cast is so small, there isn't really another option, but there also hasn't been enough pointing towards it yet. There's like one sus look in episode 2. It's still crazy there's 3 episodes left. Maybe it's a good thing that last week's episode was fine, because that is going to be our only opportunity to breathe until we have to wait a year for season 5. This episode is also a prime reason on why I like weekly releases. This is going to be a good one to stew on. If the rest of the season stays at this quality, I am going to be so annoying about Invincible at levels only seen with Dune Part 2. This is my favorite episode of the series, and it might be a top 5 of all time for me. All of the character work was perfect. The action was intense and fun until it was disgustingly raw. 3 minutes of falling in hell paid for a banger fight. And there's still more this season. I can't get over that. That is actually insane. Dude, I have such high expectations for the next episode, but that will be it for this week. Until then, I will be thinking about this one a lot and whispering, dude, to myself. Was this your favorite episode? What did you think about it? Let me know in the comments down below. If you enjoyed this video and want to see breakdowns on the rest of the series, feel free to like, hype, and subscribe. I'm a really small channel and doing all 3 of those helps a lot. Dude, that was so intense. See you all next week.